Back in November 2025, club legend Toni Kroos dropped a bombshell on his podcast about Vinícius Júnior's on-field attitude. Listen to this direct quote. "I often told him to stop because it felt like the whole team was being affected by his behaviour." He went on to say, "I told him over and over, Vini, you're too good. You don't need all of this." Kroos wasn't just throwing shade, he was sounding the alarm. He saw something in Vinícius that could hurt not just the player himself, but the entire Real Madrid squad. And guys, fast forward to January 2026, and it feels like that warning is coming true in the worst possible way. Let's break this down step by step. First, context on what Kroos was talking about. During his final years at Real Madrid, Toni Kroos was the calm, composed leader in midfield, the guy who never lost his cool. Vinícius, on the other hand, has always played with fire. We love the passion, the flair, the confidence, but Kroos noticed it was crossing a line. Vinícius would argue with referees after every foul, stay down on the ground complaining, confront opponents constantly, and sometimes lose focus completely when things didn't go his way. Kroos saw how this dragged the whole team into the drama. Opponents would target him more, referees would get frustrated, and suddenly the flow of the game would shift against Madrid. Kroos basically said, "Vini, you're one of the best players in the world. You don't need to engage in all this extra stuff. Just play your football and dominate." But Vinícius didn't fully listen, or at least the habits stuck. Now, let's look at where we are today. January 2026. Real Madrid just suffered one of the most embarrassing defeats in recent history, a 3-2 loss to Albacete in the Copa del Rey. Albacete, a team fighting relegation in the Segunda Division, knocked the reigning champions out with a 94th minute winner, and Vinícius, he was on the pitch for 97 minutes and delivered one of the worst individual performances you'll see from a superstar. 0 goals, 0 assists, only 1 shot on target out of 3 attempts, 23 turnovers, 23. He looked lost, frustrated, and completely out of rhythm. This wasn't just a bad night, this is part of a longer slump. Vinícius has been in terrible form for months now. He went through an 18-game goal drought earlier this season, shocking for a player of his caliber. His decision-making has been off, his finishing has deserted him, and he's giving the ball away far too often. And here's where Kroos's warning hits hardest. A huge part of this drop-off seems tied directly to his attitude. When Vinícius is at his best, he's unstoppable, gliding past defenders, smiling, dancing, enjoying his football. But when things aren't clicking, he falls back into those old habits Kroos talked about. He argues with referees, complains about every challenge, confronts opponents, and spends more energy fighting external battles than focusing on his own game. We saw it against Albacete. Instead of staying calm and trying to unlock a stubborn low-block defense, he forced plays, lost possession repeatedly, and let frustration take over. That negative energy spreads. Teammates start pressing too desperately, the crowd gets anxious, and suddenly the whole team looks disjointed. It's not just one game, there have been reports of tension in the dressing room. Vinícius has had public disagreements with coaches. Remember the fallout with Xabi Alonso? Players reportedly went to the board to complain about tactics and leadership. Fans have started whistling Vinícius when he's substituted. Some are even calling for the club to consider selling him if he doesn't turn it around. This is exactly what Kroos feared, one player's behaviour dragging the entire team down. Of course, we have to acknowledge the external factors. Vinícius has faced horrific racist abuse throughout his career in Spain, including disgusting incidents like the banana thrown at him during the Albacete match. That's unacceptable, and it understandably affects him emotionally. No player should have to deal with that. But Kroos's point, even when defending Vinícius against racism, was that the best response is to stay focused and let your football do the talking. The more you react and engage, the more it gives ammunition to opponents and distracts from your performance. Right now, Vinícius looks mentally drained. The confidence is gone. He's trying too hard to force things instead of letting the game come to him. And when you combine that with the constant complaining and arguing, it becomes a vicious cycle. Poor decisions to frustration to more arguing to even worse decisions. Real Madrid as a team are suffering too. They're out of the Copa del Rey in humiliating fashion. There's talk of crisis at the Bernabéu, poor positioning, lack of cohesion, and a squad that looks low on belief. A big part of that is the absence of the old leaders like Kroos who could calm things down and refocus everyone. So, was Toni Kroos prophetic? It really feels like it. He saw the signs years ago and tried to guide Vinicius away from this path. He knew that talent alone isn't enough at the very top. You need the right mentality to sustain greatness and lift your teammates. The big question now, can Vinicius turn this around? He's still only 25. He's won Champions Leagues, scored hat-tricks in semi-finals, and has been one of the most exciting players on the planet. The ability is still there. If he can take Kroos' advice to heart, cut out the unnecessary drama, ignore the provocations, and just focus on destroying defenses with his football, he can get back to his best and drag Madrid out of this slump. But if the attitude issues continue, Kroos' warning will keep echoing. It won't just hurt Vinicius, it will hurt the whole team. What do you think? Is this slump mostly down to Vinicius' attitude, or are there bigger problems at Real Madrid? Can he bounce back in 2026, or is this the beginning of a longer decline? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more Real Madrid content, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.